Let's start off with Vodacom, because yesterday, just watching evening programming on Mnet, it was hard to escape some of the little snippet advertising plays that came on air. Very quick, very brief, but to the point is that they are going through a major rebranding exercise here.
Massive win for the ad agency that ran the program. Look, people have been moaning, of course, about the fact that Vodacom is spending like 200 million rand on the rebranding exercise. People saying, well, why don't they rather improve the quality of the 3G signal in my area? And we know that a lot of people depend on 3G because, you know, Telkom's ADSL service is not so great either. I guess the issue here you've got to remember is that Vodacom is part of the global group, and Vodafone, its corporate overlord, decided it wants one global brand. And you know what global CEOs are like? Their egos are the size of castles, and their brand is the only brand. So they've basically told the local operator this is what's got to be done. The local guys at least are putting a brave face on it and saying that they're also spending a lot of money on network infrastructure expansion and so on and so forth. Remember, Vodacom's a stock which has done very well, and we like it a lot because the transition, I think, from voice services to data is underappreciated. People forget that there's a good business in selling those data connections.
What do you see this marketing campaign doing for the company as a whole, though? Because, I mean, we've had this discussion before when Barclays came and, with this, took up a stake in Absa, whether or not this joint identity actually means anything in a local market.
Look, I don't know anything about this, but for my money, what I would do is, if you want to change the brand, just move in and do it and get finished and clear with it. In other words, why stop at Vodacom with the red branding and the Vodafone logo? Just call it Vodafone and go for it. Same with Absa. Just call it Barclays from the get-go, and everybody can have their Barclay card like they used to have when our parents grew up. So, you know, I just think people mollycoddle the public. They think they're stupid and that they need to be taken through a process. All I see down the line is more money to be spent on converting it from Vodacom to Vodafone. It looks like a waste to me.
Well, let's shift attention to the US. Across the Atlantic there, we've got ongoing strength in the equity markets. It's been pretty tempered today, but still, it's that jobless number that came through on Friday that was very encouraging.
Yeah, because, I mean, you haven't been exposed to my particular brand of virulent optimism yet, but for me, it's just a question of saying, where are we in the world midway through 2011? We've had all these distractions, all these, you know, natural disasters, all these anxieties over sovereign risk, this, that, and the other. But the big term picture is that there's an ongoing economic recovery in the US. There's been strength all along in emerging markets. So it's perfectly logical, if you ask me, that the big institutions that determine prices in the equity markets are moving markets higher. It's all just going to continue. Of course, we don't know what lies around the corner. Tomorrow there could be some terrible event that's going to drag us back. But for the moment, I think you've got to be totally crazy to be short this market.
We could also have an oil price that continues to just keep rising and rising. We're sitting at above 120 today.
And we know that's positive, at least at some level, for our billetins and our Sasols and the like. And oil tends to be the sort of lead steer in the commodity game. So I'm not seeing that as a negative. I know some people are only too soon to jump on that and say, okay, well, that's the reason why, you know, inflation's going to gallop out of control. But I don't think so. We know these commodity inputs, while they're important, are not the ultimate issue in terms of setting prices in the economy.